Thank you for tuning in to No Flag Radio. I'm your host, P. Spitting this. So today we're talking about the pro-black narrative for Chicago this past weekend. We all know there was a high number of shootings that happened in Chicago this past weekend. And you know that we all expected to be these race soldiers disguised as police. We've already caught Chicago police planting guns, shooting people. Wakia Boy comes to mind, right? Caught red-handed, attacking black people. Corrupt cops. They have a long history. Not to mention, further on in the week, they got caught trying to plant a truck full of Nikes and shit in the hood. Pieces of shit motherfuckers, right? This the shit that they on. So I just want to get into who we know them to be and who we feel them to be. So if you get anybody in your face talking about, well, all these people were killed in Chicago, it's such a travesty. Bitch, no, shut up. Shut up. If you ain't talking about what your police doing out there and those white supremacist groups out there, what they doing, then you can't talk to me, period. Alright, so first thing I want to say is, people want to say, why Chicago? We all know that since Obama left office, notice that every stone that Obama quote unquote laid down has been an effort or a success at removing it from America. It's all for show. It's all for the pettiness of white supremacist people. It's all for the polarizing politics of the matter. We know that. One thing that didn't get done was the new people in power didn't yet make a change or take a crack at Chicago in any significant way. Matter of fact, check the facts. Chicago was on a 15-month decline. I think damn near 16-month continual decline in violence when this shooting all of a sudden occurred, all of a sudden broke out. So don't miss that fact. They expect us to believe that after 16 months of decline, on a no-name weekend, no holiday, no special theme going on, at some block parties, mind you, which have been going on all the other 16 months of this reported decline in violence that we've been reporting and seeing consistently in Chicago. The violence has been going down and down and down and down and down for over a year. All of a sudden, 66 people shot, 12 dead. No. This is politically orchestrated. And anybody with common sense knows that. I want y'all to know that first off. I want y'all to look at what's been happening in Chicago politics when Obama was in office. And since he left, what they've been doing about violence in Chicago, as they say. Because it seems to be the only thing they want to talk about. I know. Sticking to the theme of these white supremacist politicians and them wanting to lay down their laws and regulations around Chicago, using the city as kind of like their personal tug-of-war rope from the Democrats. They already talking about, because of this shooting, Rahm Emanuel, a Democrat, he needs to be out of office. He needs to resign. That ain't no coincidence. They trying to push somebody into his seat. Trump, when he got into office, he had to make a point with Chicago because that's where Obama came out of. He had to set his eyes on where Obama was from because it's symbolic, it's a meditative thing for him. He's trying to get some sort of nut off out of this shit. And he's setting his eyes on this military hype beast that he could possibly put into motion in Chicago. This is all a money grab when it comes to Trump's politics. I know y'all see that. A lot of the politics around Trump is very money grabbish. If not all of the politics. You know what I mean? We talking the military contracts, the military buddies that he got that need contracts to get filled. The Blackwater, the covert military guys that are being allowed to be heads over police departments. I find this shooting to be a part of the money grab. Trump tired of waiting on Chicago violence just to pay off and pay him money. So they got an election coming up February 26th, and I don't think they want to wait until the 26th. I think he's going to try to put somebody in position to be a mayor there where all of the donations, all the little money that he want to get can be funneled right through his little Chicago Connect. This is what it looked like he's trying to do, was set up a Chicago Connect to wash more donation money and split up his pie with his deplorable. It's all about a money splitting, pie splitting thing with Trump. He just trying to set up posts and set up traps here, traps there. Chicago just one of his traps, is what I'm imagining right now. Now, if y'all are the type to pull out your motherfucking connection board, this is the time to pull that shit out. I'm gonna tell you a name, Gary McCarthy. Alright? He's the guy that's running for Chicago mayor, and he's a Democrat. Just want to throw that out there real quick. His previous occupation was the police superintendent of Chicago, right? But his history, it goes back from New York. He used to be a New York cop for about 30 years. So think about all the corrupt shit in New York with your police for the past 30 years or more. He used to be a cop out in Jersey, like a high-ranking type of dude out in Jersey. And when he was in Chicago, he was the guy that presided over the Laquan McDonald murder. And rest in peace to our brother Laquan McDonald. He got shot 16 times by a cop. Last name was Van Dyke. Y'all remember Van Dyke? Officer Van Dyke? Who had a long history of problematic policing. 17 different complaints from the community about him. The heat was on Chicago, and Rahm Emanuel told this dude, Gary McCarthy, to step down. And they were gonna institute this police accountability force and all this type of shit. Guess who's coming out promoting this Gary McCarthy guy, saying that he's the best guy for the job? He should be the Chicago mayor. He should be the new guy. Guess who's pumping him up and promoting him? Former New York Mayor Rudy Giuliani. It's very real. So if you're pulling out your connection board, connect Giuliani to Gary McCarthy. And you know who Giuliani's connected with? You know who he is, right? He's Donald Trump's lawyer. If y'all didn't know about his promotion, he's been promoted to Donald Trump's lawyer, which is suspect in a mug. So we talk about the pettiness of these politicians and how they just want to be fucked up to black people in Chicago type shit, right? And you look at them saying, oh, we need to go get the obviously racist guy who fucked up New York, who fucked up New Jersey, to come on in and bring more bullshit to Chicago as a mayor. And this is coming from up on high. This is coming from Trump and Giuliani as a white supremacist agenda to bring more discord and chaos to Chicago because we have a white supremacist president, right? So they pushing him to be the mayor of Chicago. So if you're making a connection board of all the white supremacist officials and so forth who are steering their hands in the proverbial pot that is Chicago, and Chicago's coffers and its military prison complex stocks and all of this trio of pillaging, shooting, setting up con men, Trump, Giuliani, and McCarthy, Trump, Giuliani, and McCarthy, Trump, Giuliani, and McCarthy, I'm gonna say it as many times as I can, we will be hearing more from this group soon, especially McCarthy. He's basically being endorsed by the president to offer a white supremacist clean-up version of Chicago because Rahm Emanuel was so bad and all this other shit. And all our people out in Chicago, just be on alert, because this dude that they trying to make y'all's new mayor already got a vendetta with the black people of Chicago because the Laquan McDonald case was a case that he got fired off of, which got his ass fired. So he gonna come in that bitch with a vengeance angry. So this shit finna get hot. Now I want to detour a little bit back into the shooting again to show y'all how I think this is some corrupt, underhanded, planned bullshit shit, right? First of all, they said that 12 people were killed, and from my mathematics, I only counted 9. Maybe I'm missing the other 3. But I only counted 9 people so far that they put out in the news, so maybe I'm just not getting all the news. I'm not in Chicago, but not saying it didn't happen, but I only counted 9. So I'm looking at the shit fishy already. But a couple days ago, I was just looking at the crime labs, right, and the Office of the Medical Examiner, because we know Chicago has a history of just being corrupt. From the scene of a crime all the way to who reports what happened at a crime scene. We know this shit, right? So I said, man, let me look into the crime lab first. Let me see what's happening with the Chicago crime lab. Are they gonna get any of this evidence? And just looking into the crime lab, we see that there was a collaboration. Basically, the crime lab got a grant, $10 million grant. Right when Obama first got elected, they got this big lump sum of money from this philanthropist, Ken Griffin is his name, Ken Griffin. He's Donald Trump's people, So if any of the evidence from this shooting of all these people ended up in that crime lab, if they don't got no information for us, then we know it's some white supremacist bullshit. I don't know how much of the evidence from cases that they get across their lab and they see across their desk, but I'm gonna find out over the coming weeks. I just got off a phone call with them, but they had me on hold for so damn long. But I'm gonna be in contact with these people and we're gonna see what information are they keeping about this group of shootings and what's publicly available and so forth and so on. So I'm gonna be tuning back in with another pro-black narrative because I wanna trace who bullets is these? What guns is these coming from? You know what I mean? What bullet store is this coming from? I wanna know all of this shit. We gonna find this shit out, goddammit. Cause I know it's gonna go back to some white supremacist terrorist group. I just know it. Digging a little further, I said, man, let me check into this medical examiner. Now, you already know the office of the medical examiner in Chicago has a history of being fucked up and corrupt. Y'all know about the guy, John Kavanaugh. He just got fired not too long ago for being corrupt. He was missing murderers on his records. Like there was a one situation where a black guy got burnt up in a building and he marking them off as suicides, right? Look at this shit. We've seen this before, right? The office of the medical examiner marking shit off as suicides. Come to find out, he had actually had some sort of trauma to his body, like a head trauma, like he had actually been homicidally murdered, and they marking it down, passing it off as a suicide in the Chicago office of the medical examiner. There was actually a black woman that came in from the Cook County board and put his ass on blast. And it was like 16 of them, 16 different cases that he ruled as suicides that were later determined to be homicides. So he's, if you see a picture of him, he's a real Michael McDonald looking son of a bitch. I mean, real fucking Steven Spielberg beard having motherfucker. So, like I said, I don't think that we're even getting accurate numbers as to who has been shot or killed. I don't even think that shit is accurate. Like I said, my count was 9. But I'm gonna leave you the link from the Cook County government about medical examiner cases. And it explains that, you know, this site contains information about deaths that occur in the Cook County that were under the medical examiner's jurisdiction. Not all deaths that occur in Cook County are reported to the medical examiner or fall under the jurisdiction of the medical examiner. The medical examiner determines cause and manner of death for those cases that fall under his jurisdiction. Cause of death describes the reason the person died. The data set includes information from deaths starting in August 2014 to present, with information updated daily. So we should be seeing some sort of daily update from the medical examiner. If anybody know or any other links you could give, post it in the description. I'm gonna check that shit out. You know what I'm saying? But just by reading that still seems to me that they have a way to kind of wiggle out of shit when they say, well, this doesn't fall under my jurisdiction. This doesn't fall under the jurisdiction. And this is, I think that doesn't fall under the jurisdiction wording is just a way for them to kind of wiggle out of responsibility, or maybe make it easier for them to cover up some shit that white supremacist gang members of their liking had something to do with. It's a way to kind of have a loophole for people to come up missing, for people that actually died to just be missing. I don't know, but I don't want to give them no ideas. Whoever, if they listening, you know what I mean? I don't want to give they funky ass no ideas. But my question is, are they gonna try to play this? Is the crime lab collaboration and the money that they're getting from philanthropists mixed with the medical examiner's wording of their job description? Are they gonna try to pull some old Bully Wayne type of bullshit shit with the shit? Is my concern. Like I said, 12 body bags and I only counted 9. So, looking into Chicago, you know people always want to talk this shit about the guns in Chicago. Well, if you look at the issue of where the guns are coming in Chicago, and I'll post this link as well, you want to talk that shit and say, oh, well, these guys in Chicago, they're just criminals. They're just this and that. They have all these guns. And, well, look at how the guns got there. I'm going to place the link. It shows that almost all the fucking illegal guns that come into Chicago, we're talking about illegal guns that are usually used to do crime, these guns come from Indiana, mostly. These are being imported, right? And that import source could be anywhere. It could be from a police station. It could be from a white supremacist terrorist organization that's working with the police to get the guns transported. There's 3%ers all out in Indiana, all out in Illinois. So for them to be working hand in hand to make sure this type of stuff goes on, make sure these type of illegal weapons get into Chicago, ain't no stretch of the imagination. It's just two neighboring white supremacists collaborating. scheming and hijinksing to pull off some bullshit. I don't doubt that the 3%ers in Indiana and the 3%ers in Illinois, because they out there, are collaborating to move guns, to go on shoot 'em up missions. The Indiana pipeline needs to be watched as well, not just looking at Chicago. If you was an investigatory type of motherfucker, what white supremacist hand is behind pushing that? How is that a known fact that all these guns are coming from Indiana and ain't nobody stopping that pipeline, and that's just a continual flow of guns and a continuous flow of gunship, right? Is my concern. This has been a known pipeline for years and nobody has shut it down. So that goes to show you it's a white supremacist hand that's managing the upkeep of that. So I'm gonna place the link so y'all can check it out. My question is, what has been done in place of hunting down these gun-toting white supremacists, no doubt I'm sure, who are funneling these guns into Chicago from Indiana, I'm sure, whose branches are known to go on weekend missions. They do interviews talking about they go on weekend retreats, so forth and so on. I don't know how dumb you gotta be to miss this kind of puzzle piece. We're gonna be allowed to rally in the capital city over the next couple of days. How are they not getting pulled out by the numbers and called up for these racially leaned attacks, or even just looking into the potentiality of these being racially leaned attacks after 16 months of declining violence, where they're known to be, and their collaborators, Oath Keepers, and all these other groups are out in Illinois known to be, and they're known to do stuff like this. How aren't they being pulled in? If the race soldiers of Chicago ain't already in on it, if the various 3%ers, Oath Keepers, all these other folks ain't in on it already, if the president of the United States ain't already in on it. So part of the pro-black narrative, what's being done in place of hunting these white supremacist terrorist organizations down that are racially lean and do racial crimes? What's being done in place of hunting these white supremacist terrorists down, at least for conspiracy to do some shit, at least for suspicion and gaffling them up, question them and all kind of shit? I'll tell you what they doing. They're doing police raids on black people. That's what they doing. Alright, just recently there was a series of raids they did in Chicago, led to about 100 people being arrested. They arresting black people out of the shit like this going on. Says there was 60 or so were known felons, 3 were like top dog bosses. These people have been under watch. And if they had been under watch for the past 16 months where ain't been no killing, ain't been nothing going on, the timing of all of this speaks to some white supremacist activity, a white supremacist charge. This is gonna be what the white supremacists that are gonna be at this Unite the Right rally are gonna be running with. They're gonna be talking about Chicago at the rally. Bet money on it. And they're gonna be trying to circle an agenda around Chicago after the rally. Stay tuned to it. They're gonna be using this rally as an emotional, psychological pit stop to try to hype each other up, hype each other's devil asses up to do more evil shit. And it's fucked up, but that's what they gonna do. Again, sticking with the pro-black narrative, what they don't tell you. In Chicago, 318 people have been killed this year, but that's still 110 people fewer than 2017. So throw that out there. So for them to be having a big powwow and all this shit in Washington, D.C., which they're gonna be doing behind what's happened in Chicago, which they're gonna be bringing up, it's just mental masturbation over an imagined atrocity level in Chicago, I want to say. And we talked about the imagination of the white supremacist terrorists, how they do evil behind their imagination in this white supremacist regime that we're dealing with, right? The people who lost their lives and were shot, they were victims. They should not be used for some sort of